What's up, guys? I got the keys here, back with another video. So today my subject is kind of like two things, but the first thing is to find the pros in all of your problems, right? So we see them as like blockages or issues or things that we can't solve with our ego, right? Our ego is telling us, oh, we gotta figure this out. We have to solve this problem. We have to, you know what I mean? And I mean, sometimes that's true, but also sometimes we have problems on purpose. Like I've said before, God sends us things sometimes on purpose, right? And well, I mean, everything is on purpose, but you know what I mean? So it's like sometimes the things that you think are bad, you know, there's really something good happening there, right? And you're just not seeing it. And so what you can do is kind of, whenever something that you think is a problem comes up, try to look at it from like a, wider view. Like, how would God see this right now, right? And it's like you have so much opportunity to look at all the perspectives, right? And look at all of the, different good things about this situation, right? So like, I can give you an example of, let's say you run out of money in your bank account or something, okay? And you're like in the negative or something. Now this could be like, you could see it as a problem, but you can also see it as something's being removed to add something else, right? And so like, I mean, I understand that, not having money is not fun, but this is just an example. So it's just like there's so many opportunities to make money, right? And it's like, it's showing you that, hey, you might have, so-called lost this money, but we're going to make more, right? I'm going to give you more. That's what God's telling you all the time. Hey, look, don't worry about it. I got you, okay? So this is about faith too, guys. Like, I know faith is hard because, we're living in the body, right? We have to live through the ego. And our ego is always making up, situations in our head, right? And it's like, so, but, finding the pros in your problems, right? Like finding all the good things, that's going to bring you more gratitude. That's going to bring you more happiness. That's going to bring you more joy, right? Because you're not seeing it as a problem now. You're seeing it as, okay, this is all just divine flow, right? This is all happening for me, not to me, right? Things don't happen to you as much as you may think they do. Things happen for you guys. Like, and I'm not saying like, because like you could use the, the analogy of like you have to suffer to wake up, right? Or to awaken, but that's not necessarily true, right? You can awaken at any point. It's really up to your soul when you wake up, right? In this game. And I don't mean it like, everybody else is asleep and you're awake and they're all sheep and you're not, you know what I mean? Like that's not a good view either. Everybody is a person. Everybody is you at the end of the day. Everybody is God. And even if they don't know it, you know it. So treat them that way, right? And like, I understand that there's people you don't like. I got people I don't fucking like, right? I'm not going to deny that. However, I still see that they are my mirror, right? I still see how, they connect to me in some way, shape, or form. And that's actually a huge blessing sometimes. And sometimes it's a curse. But it's like, I also don't let myself get walked on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to speak up for yourself and use that throat chakra, guys. But again, finding the pros in your problems is going to solve so many things for you. Like, it's going to release a lot of your doubts, a lot of your worries, and everything, because your mind's in a place of, it's okay, it's taken care of, right? Instead of, oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to solve this? How is this going to, you know what I mean? So the other part of the video here is going to be using all of your soul in your solutions, right? They do this on purpose with words, guys. Solutions, right? So when you have a problem, right, you don't want to focus on the problem. You want to focus on a solution to that problem, right? So like after you looked at all the good things that you could find about this situation, right? Now you can look at all of your possible solutions and how you could possibly solve this, right? But you're going to look at it from your soul's view, from the third eye or your mind's eye, which is where you imagine, okay? This is not just some woo-woo, you know what I mean? Like, the third eye is real. It's in your brain, okay? This is called the pineal gland. It is what it is, guys. It's literally a radio receiver in your head, right? And you are receiving consciousness from God, which is consciousness itself, okay? So use all of your soul in your solutions. Your soul is your light, guys. So let your light guide the way to the solution. You know what I mean? A lot of the times our ego tries to find how we can get this done, which I'm not saying that's bad, that sometimes that can help. But your soul ultimately knows the best way, right? So when you go inside and you ask God, hey, how can I solve this? How can I solve this problem? You ask your higher self, how can I solve this issue? So it's using all of your awareness and really looking at every angle of the situation, right? Every angel of the situation, okay? So there's always a way, guys. Always a way. And there's always more than one way, even though we may only see one way. Because our ego has a certain perspective on things. But we have to remember, everybody has a different perspective. So think about how many different perspectives you could have in that one moment, right? Think about how many different solutions could be thought of if you were everybody, right? And you had everybody's mind, which you do, in a sense, okay? Because all of our minds are connected. So, again, using your soul to solve your solutions, right? Using your awareness, also focusing, right? Focusing your awareness on the solutions, not the problem, right? So again, use your soul, awareness, light to solve your issues, guys. The issues that you don't really have, right? And I know, I understand that we're humans, right? And we see them as issues. I'm not trying to be inconsiderate of people, because I know everybody's got feelings. Everybody's got, their own shit to deal with. But I promise you, there is a way out, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We forget that we came to this world on purpose, right? We came here to experience what we are not, so that we can remember what we are, right? So even though the world may be dark, right, she also has light, okay? And it's the same with us, right? And darkness doesn't need to be some bad thing. However, we are the light, right? We light up this world. Without us, this world does not exist. Because without perception, nothing exists. Think about it. Every time that you turn around and you walk into a different room, you've just changed a timeline. I mean, think about it, right? It's literally like time travel. Every time you go into your car and you drive forward, you don't think about what's behind you, right? I mean, you might look in the mirror, but ultimately that disappears at some point, right? Because you're not perceiving it anymore. So, perception, guys. Another important thing. I made a video on this, but I'm sure another one will come in the future. But guys, there's no problems really in this world, right? We see them as problems. So it's the same thing with good and bad. We see something as good or we see something as bad, right? But is it really bad or is it really good, right? Like, because I do this with a lot of things, But it's like, if we can learn to see the good things in something, even when it's so-called bad, and I don't mean this like in a, narcissistic way of just, let people walk all over you, don't do that. But what I'm saying is, be aware, right? Be aware and find the goodness in that person, and then say, okay, or in that problem, I'm sorry. And whatever you can find that's good there, I promise you, it's going to help you, right? Think about it. Every time you guys have good thoughts, you have a good day, right? Okay? So it's the same thing when you're, focusing on something. If you're focusing on a problem and you're focusing on it negatively, which negative doesn't mean bad, but more negative will come because that's where you're focused. So if you're focusing on the pros, then guess what? More pros. See what I'm saying? All right, guys. So I'll see you in the next one. I love you. Peace.